we'll talk about Sunday's game before wrapping this video up. But just defensively, I also think, another one of those signings since we last spoke, Thiago Silva, which was, I think, talk about surprising signings. I think, that one absolutely came out of nowhere, and we're sort of thinking about centre-backs and Jimenez, and of course, Declan Rice was touted as a centre-back option. And the hope is maybe Thiago Silva could add something that we lacked last season in terms of maturity and danger awareness. I mean, how important do you think Silva could be to this defence this year, rectifying the mistakes of last season?
I think he, I don't want to be a bit realistic. Obviously, the vibe I get from Silva is that he's like one of those old school defenders, similar to like your John Terrys, your Puyols, could you say your Chiellinis, I guess, your Gordons, the type of defenders where whoever plays alongside them automatically is going to look even better. And that's because they have the authority, they have the respect. They're excellent tacticians that know when to move up, when to stay in line, how to control and marshal a defense as well. And I think that is one thing that Silva does bring. So, last season, Lampard realised that, okay, for my system, because we defend on the counter-attack, I need defenders that are good 1v1. So that's why Tomori Zuma looks really good. But at the same time, when it came to playing out from the back at times, Tomori showed quite a few signs of youthful inexperience, I think. And Lampard realised, okay, I need to make a change. So I guess I have to turn towards a Rudiger, who is known for his ball playing out from the back. Hopefully he'll bring that balance and that experience too, where he's vocal, he speaks to people, and that's one thing that these young guys have not been bringing. But with Rudiger, I think Lampard realised quite quickly that he's a good player, and that's it. He's just a good player. He's not like a top four, like, wow, what a colossus Rudiger is type of guy. So I think this is why Thiago Silva made a ton of sense. I think he will effectively replace a Rudiger, because I think he's like better experience, better quality, and Silva's not any rate. I can't say regular 35-year-olds. There's not too many of them playing at this level. But, I mean, this is a guy who's up there with Ronaldo in terms of looking after his body. I mean, to me, he looks like he's still like late 20s. That's how, no wrinkle in his forehead, no injuries, no stress. He looks phenomenal in the UCL. And that was literally like, a month and a half ago. So, yeah, I feel very optimistic about him.
I think it was one of those signings where, like, we talk about like first choice targets. I think it was one of those signings a bit like probably Mendy's going to be, where it's a bit more opportunistic and pragmatic, where you see an opportunity arise for a player with a lot of experience. And I think he's a motivated player. I was listening to some podcasts and they're talking about him, and he's motivated to captain Brazil at the next World Cup, still be there, still be at the top of his game. And that's, It's very basic to say, but I think we lacked no-nonsense defending last year. We lacked someone just... The amount of times the ball went into the box and just static defending, just a lack of concentration. And I just hope that Thiago Silva, as you've stated, will raise the game of other players. I just want to ask you as well about Declan Rice, because you did bring up Declan Rice. I think the transfers, maybe beyond Chelsea's reach in this window. I do think it will happen. Can you see Declan Rice being a Chelsea player this window? Because I just think that fee is just too much.
I think it depends. I think with Declan, I've been saying for a while, I wouldn't be surprised if a January move came or a move for next season. Because I think as the club are clearly showing, listen, we're in a position now where we know we can sign who we want to sign. But to get them, we are going to sign them when it's the best time for us. And if the club are like, okay, West Ham, things are very difficult to get this deal secured. But I don't know. I just think that with West Ham, as time goes on, especially at the end of the window, I think they'll feel more pressure, because I think by that time, maybe there's like a few more games played in the league. Let's say they're right at the bottom. More like unhappiness behind the scenes. That could be the perfect recipe to sign Rice in that moment. And of course, if that's the case, Mourinho's already thought about 10 different hypotheticals for when to make a move. So listen, I feel right now, man, based on this window, if we want to get someone, we'll get them. So that's the energy I got.
I think I will never play career mode again if we sign Declan Rice. There's no point anymore. Like, it's just, because I will never be able to replicate, real life is career mode now for me with Chelsea. I think the interesting thing with Rice, though, for me is this conflict when you're reading about Rice and why Chelsea want him, why Lampard's interested in him. And I know you've talked about this on your channel before, it is centre-back or central defensive midfielder. And to me, at first, I was like, before we got Silva, I was like, okay, yeah, centre-back, maybe there's a reason why we want to play him there, because he's got the technical skills, he's got the leadership as well. He can in terms of possession, I think he's the type of defender you want for Chelsea. But there was just that concern for me that he hasn't been playing as a central defender. He's been playing as a defensive midfielder. And I just wonder, balance in that midfield is so key. And I think it's key to defending as well. I think part of the big problem last year was transitions and the space between centre-backs and central defensive midfielder. Do you think, actually, if we do sign Declan Rice, he will be used in his position he's currently playing in rather than shifted back to a centre-back role?
I think he'll probably be used in midfield. So I wouldn't be surprised if he played alongside, Kante at times, or even in the base, even in place of Kante. I think, whenever Kante wasn't playing last season, that really messed up how our midfield could perform. And I think the game versus Arsenal in the FA Cup really summed that up. I think if Kante played that game, he would have won, and it would have been quite a comfortable win, to be honest. So I think Rice, I see midfield. And I know that there's been talks of centre-back, maybe in the future, but I don't know. Like, I can't remember a time where a young player has made his name playing as a midfielder for so long that by the time they're 23, they get moved into defence. I don't know if it... Maybe, we've seen with Mascherano and players like that, and I guess if you're going to play really high line, defensive line, there's probably an additional bonus you get from using like a guy that can play in that role too. So, it is going to be interesting to see, and it's the type of, we sign players that can give us 3-4 possibilities every single time. I think that's the great thing. We just have so many options that I feel like if we have injuries this season, we can still cope, which is a great thing, and I think that's the difference between us from last season and this season now. So, man, Rice, let's hope West Ham, they keep fumbling things and messing things up behind. I don't know. I get the vibe. I've always felt like January could be the time to sign Rice. I think, obviously, England, he want to play for them. West Ham will probably be right near the bottom of the table is the vibe I'm getting to. They might be forced to I need to bounce and keep things moving. And West Ham are like, okay, cool. Give us 50 mil now.